After the Battle of the Alamo, the Texans will go on to win the Texas Rebellion for Independence. Once they defeat Santa Anna's army, they're going to declare their independence. They're going to write a Declaration of Independence very similar to America's, because if you remember, all of these Texans were once Americans. They're going to name somebody named Sam Houston, their president, which is where the city of Houston comes from today. And then immediately they're going to apply to be taken over by America. And that's where they ask to be annexed by America. And what annexation is when a country formally has territory enter their country. So America would formally take over Texas. But at first, America denies it. They really want Texas to be a state, but they're very worried about retribution from Mexico. And they're very worried that Mexico is going to get very angry with them, and it's going to be a sticky foreign policy kind of issue. So at first, we completely deny Texas to be part of our country. So another reason we deny Texas at first is Texas would want to become a slave state. And adding Texas to the Union would mean that there are more slave states than free states. And if you recall the Missouri Compromise, we cannot have an imbalance of slave states and free states because that would upset the Senate. So the South really wants another slave state, and the North obviously doesn't, but they want to claim all of the Oregon Territory that we just got from Great Britain. And so in an effort to make both sides happy, we give them exactly what they want. Texas becomes a state, and they become a slave state, and the North gets all claims to the Oregon Territory, which to us seems a little bit silly since they already got that with the Missouri Compromise, but it's a formal way of saying, this is your land, the South will never have a part of it. So for a while, we're going to have a temporary imbalance in the Senate, but the North's okay with that because the Oregon Territory is a huge chunk of land. So quick recap, Texas becomes free and independent. They are actually their own country for 9 years while they wait for America to change their mind about annexation. As those 9 years go by, America realizes Mexico's probably not going to mess with them, and so they add Texas to their union. This gives the South another slave state, and it also puts in place making the North happy by promising them Great Britain's territory of Oregon. Both sides win. So both the North and the South win in this. And this is all done once again under President Polk. You'll remember President Polk is the guy that gets us Oregon territory from Great Britain. So in 1845, Texas becomes a state. So in just 25 years, we go from no Americans in Texas. 25 years, it starts with Texas being owned by Mexico. And just short 25 years later, we have Mexico out of the picture, and Texas is now a state. So let's do one last recap about the things you need to know about how Texas becomes a part of America. Make sure you understand that it was owned by Mexico, and how it was even open to colonization for Americans. Make sure you understand that the Americans that came were Southerners, and they didn't follow the new laws of Mexico. Make sure then that you understand how those Texans declare their independence, how they start a rebellion. Make sure you understand the Battle of the Alamo. And the really last key important piece is how does Texas go from Mexico to its own country to a part of America. And it's going to be important to understand how the North felt about Texas becoming a state and how the South felt about Texas becoming a state. At the conclusion of these videos, don't forget to do your learning targets and watch the 2 YouTube videos on the Battle of the Alamo. Thank you.